Oh, wow. That was a special, very special time for me to have this conversation with Morgan, who is a pediatric ICU nurse. The work that she does is extraordinary, inspiring. And yeah, I got choked up and had to cry a little bit on this one because
Yeah.
there's some tough stuff going on with kids right now. She brought a little light to some of those stories.
Yes. Thank goodness for the nurses. The nurses are just such special people. Trigger warning for this episode, we're talking about suicidality. We're talking about child abuse. We're talking about drug abuse. So protect yourself, but do listen. This is important stuff.
The world is a lot right now. Are you feeling it? We all need new tools to help us walk through the chaos with grace, ease, and compassion for each other and for ourselves. In this podcast, you'll hear from parents, educators, and other experts who can bring perspective to the monumental job of parenting. It's time to level up and be warriors for our kids and our communities. This is the Warrior Parent Podcast. I'm Marcy Mitchell.
And I'm Debbie DeMano. As parents, we understand that it really does take a village to raise our kids. We hope that this podcast serves to create and support that community for you. Join us as we discuss and practice our core tools, which are proven mind-body techniques that can be used by anyone to improve your life on a daily basis.
Welcome back to the Warrior Parent Podcast. We are very glad that you're joining us today. Today we are speaking with Morgan Dierickx, and she is an ICU nurse working in a busy children's hospital in Tacoma, Washington, where she sees many tough, inspiring, heartbreaking, and miraculous cases involving kids and their families on their worst days. An ICU nurse has the often impossible job of showing up for families on the toughest days of their lives, while also tending to the life and death medical needs of their most precious members, their children. And Morgan also has a special connection to Debbie, which I'll let her tell you about right now.
Thank you for being here, Morgan. I know I feel like I
you.
wrangled her into this a little bit, but I met Morgan probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 months ago. She is Tanner's girlfriend, and I am doing my best to make sure she sticks around for a very long time.
You better tell us who Tanner is, because not everybody knows.
Yes. So anyway, I first met Morgan, as you all know, I've been in the medical field for 30 some years. And so I met Morgan and I was excited to hear about her story, her inspirational story of why she wanted to become a pediatric ICU nurse in the first place. First of all, it's no easy feat to get through a program like that, but then to make the determination of wanting to work in pediatrics is something even more special. So we'll talk a lot about this, but Morgan, I want you to go ahead and tell us your story about how you came to be this amazing nurse.
So when I was younger, I was in the hospital a lot. I had an incident where I fell off a fence and I broke my arm completely in half, to the point where the bone was almost popped out, and I had to get surgery on my arm because my whole arm went blue and there was no circulation to it. And so I was constantly in the hospital getting surgery on my arm, and then I developed a post-surgery infection, which led to a pretty bad staph infection that I almost passed away from. And
oh my goodness.
yeah, so the nurses and doctors were just my biggest, besides my family, my biggest support system. And the nurses always made me feel so much more at ease. The doctors, especially as a kid, can be a little intimidating just because you're in this new surrounding, and the nurses were always the ones at your bedside caring for you, making sure you were doing okay. And I just, ever since then, I wanted to be that light for kids and make the hospitals not as scary. That's kind of where
Oh my God.
I
I
wanted to
love
start
that. I love that. Nurses are amazing. And yeah, big shout out to nurses, because hospitals are scary for everyone, and especially kids. And having someone there who looks you in the eye and takes your hand and make sure that they have the time to see you and let you know that it's going to be okay. You're going to be all right. And yeah, it just sees you. It's so important. And by the way, you still didn't say it, who Tanner is. Your
Oh,
your yeah.
Tanner is my son. I think probably everybody just knows that, but,
Yeah.
Yes.
yes, yeah, Tanner is my son, and I'm hoping Morgan's gonna
Mhm.
be my
Yes.
daughter-in-law, so
One day.
hey, we're all working it. Anyway. So anyway, I've been spending some quality time with Morgan and Tanner as much as I possibly
Mhm.
can, and she's been sharing some of these stories
Yeah.
about what is happening in the hospital. Now, granted, just first of all, just working in a hospital because I've done that for a
Mhm.
long time is a very, very difficult thing to do. But I think maybe even Morgan is taken aback a little bit about some of the things that
Mhm.
she's been witness to. So Morgan, share, I know you can't do specifics. I don't want you to
Mhm.
do that. But talk a little bit about some of the things that you see going on in the hospital right now.
Yeah, so right now we're seeing a lot of respiratory, it's respiratory season. It's nearing the end of
Mm,
respiratory season. So we usually get
yeah.
that around October to middle of spring. So we're getting hit with it pretty hard right now at my hospital, and we've
Mm,
been the busiest we've been in a long time. And we're getting just a lot of like rhinovirus. We're not really seeing coronavirus, but we're seeing rhinovirus, RSV, pneumonia, a certain type of bacterial pneumonia called mycoplasma is hitting kids pretty hard right now. And it's leading to them getting intubated, where it's just a breathing tube that's helping them breathe. So we see a lot
Mhm.
of that. And we see a lot of cardiac issues with mostly younger kids with heart defects. And we've also been getting recently, which I was not expecting to get as much, we're seeing a lot of suicide, we're seeing a lot of child abuse. And especially since we go into different seasons with the suicide, and it's
mm.
usually near the school dances
Oh,
and graduation. So we're getting hit with it pretty hard right now because we're nearing prom.
oh
And
my goodness.
yeah, that can take a big toll on kids' mental health.
Wow. Wow,
Mhm.
wow, wow. I know. So we had this discussion. I know when I worked in the hospital, you had to take a lot of training
Mhm.
about if you see something, do something. You have training around
Yes.
abuse and
Mhm.
what you see. And then
Mhm.
there are parameters. There's lots of rules about
Mhm.
the things that you can do. And it is a difficult situation when in your gut or your heart you know something's going
Mhm.
on, but you're
Mhm.
Mhm.
pretty darn limited about what you can do, right?
Yeah, so we've been seeing a lot of kids come in who are too young to be ingesting it themselves, so it's technically a child abuse case when they're ingesting fentanyl and methamphetamines.
Mhm.
So that's really hard because we're mandated reporters. If we see any sort of bruising on kids' bodies, if they're positive for a certain type of drug, we do have to report it straight to CPS and have them do an investigation. Even if it was just, even we've seen like just some accidental mistakes, but we still have to unfortunately call CPS, and sometimes they let it go. Sometimes it just gets into a long, long investigation.
Right, right.
Mhm.
I was knowing that we were having this conversation, I actually did some research around some
Mhm.
of the child abuse and neglect that's going on. So per the CDC, I want to make sure I get this right. Per the CDC in 2024, 1 in 4 girls is experiencing child sexual abuse and 1 in 13 boys in the United States. There are 1 billion children globally who are experiencing sexual abuse. And the latest stats in the US were a little bit behind right now, but 2022, 550,000 children are known in the US to be abused, not necessarily
Mhm.
sexually abused. Like the authorities, right, that you were just talking about,
Mhm.
Child Protective Services, they investigate 7.5 million kids a year, and 3,000 of those receive a full investigation. So CPS
Mhm.
goes into the house and does that sort of
Mhm.
thing. And it's heartbreaking. It's
Mhm.
heartbreaking. Like,
Yeah.
it's one thing to think, oh, well, like if you're thinking about Ukraine or you're thinking
Mhm.
about what's going on in other countries where there's war and all these
Mhm.
terrible things going on, like, well, that might not be so out of character for what's going on in the world around them. They have no safety net, they have, right, that sort of thing. But right here in the United States of America in the year 2025, this is what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And so do you think, so much of this is a result of the fentanyl and the drug addiction? Do you think that's where
Um,
most of it is? Do you think it's because
mhm.
people don't have money to take care of their kids? I mean, what
Yeah.
do you think?
We do see it a lot with drug addiction. So usually
Mhm.
the parents are some sort of drug addict, depending on their drug of choice. And that's usually where we see child abuse stem from the most. And
Mhm.
also just homeless as well, not having enough to afford taking care of a child. And they come in malnourished and not healthy for their life sustaining needs. So, yeah, but
Yeah.
most of it does stem from drug addiction for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
We were just talking about this, Debbie and I and another friend yesterday, but I read a few years ago, Oprah and I think it's Bruce Perry wrote a book a few years ago called What Happened to You? And it was
Mhm.
all about trauma in childhood and how that affects us all through our
Mhm.
lives. And one of the things that Dr. Perry said was that if we could stop this trauma or child abuse, that we would
Mhm.
change the world. And that has never left me. I just feel like this is it. This is
Mhm.
where we need to take our resources.
Mhm.
And it's something we could do. We could change the world literally if we would just put our resources, and it's something we can do, and lift people out of poverty, put money towards our children, towards feeding them enough and pulling children out of bad situations and educating and uplifting people who are raising children so that they have the funding, and people who are in systems of addiction, that they either are lifted out of addiction or at least the children are removed from the situations so
Mhm.
that they're not being put into that. So there's
Mhm.
lots of things we can do that we
Mhm.
are not doing, only because we have chosen not to put our resources there. And we have the resources. We spend an insane amount on our military industrial complex that we could resend these funds to healing children, and the ripple effect would change the world,
Mhm.
literally.
Yeah.
And we just have to have the will and the leadership to do it. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just want us to wake up to that, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
would just change everything. It would change
Mhm.
everything. And we could do it. We could do it.
Mhm.
We just have to do it.
Yeah,
I don't know
another
what it
thing is it's just like a long family line. Like if the
Yes.
adults who are parents who had child abuse in the past, they bring that
Yes.
to their children as well. So it just kind of goes down
Yes.
the line. So if we could
That's
just
why.
nip it where it is,
Break
it would.
the chain.
Mhm.
Break the chain.
Yeah. We
Mhm.
Because
talk about
hurt people hurt people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we
So we
talk
got
about
to stop.
the generational trauma,
Mhm.
right? And that
Right.
trauma people I think don't understand.
Yeah.
It is so it's mental trauma,
Mhm.
right? It is behavioral trauma. So then we
Mhm.
have these kids, who maybe were addicted to drugs, and then they
Mhm.
grow up and they're the ones are probably who've been traumatized are out with the guns shooting up the
Mhm.
schools, right?
Mhm.
Hey, we just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about something very exciting that Debbie and I and our team have been working on for literally years. And that is our Core Tools app, which is now available at the Google Play Store and at the Apple Store. And you can sign up for it now, and you will get access to all the tools we've been talking about on the podcast.
And if you're an early adopter of Core Tools, you can get a VIP price for $49 for a lifetime. That's right.
Lifetime.
That's
Buy
right.
it once, and we'll keep
Lifetime.
updating it too.
Yes, yes. So we're super excited about this. Go to Apple Store, go to Google Play, and purchase it now.
Core Tools, COUR, capital TOOLS.
Go get it. And then people don't really understand this, and this was something I had to learn myself because of my own traumas,
Mhm.
but the physical issues that come along with it, right? So there even, diabetes and heart
Mhm.
disease are
Right.
Yeah.
related to these early childhood traumas. So when you're talking, like Marcy it sounds silly to talk about this, but we're talking about money here.
Mm-hmm.
And the cost, not only for those
Mm-hmm.
children that you see, like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what is the cost to have a child
Right.
in the ICU
Yes.
Yeah.
for days?
Right.
What
Spend the
is,
money now for prevention
yeah,
or spend it more,
Mm-hmm.
spend more later, not to
yeah,
mention the pain and the
Mm-hmm.
suffering.
yeah.
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 What is the cost to be in the pediatric ICU? Do you have any idea?
I don't, but I do know compared to the other units, it is significantly more.
Oh, yeah.
And
Anyone who's received one of those bills, right?
I've had some what we call frequent flyers that come in and out of the ICU. And I've had a girl one time look at me when she woke up from all of her sedation and we pulled her breathing tube. It was a situation where she tried to self-harm and she woke up and her parents weren't there. She's trying to get emancipated. She was like, how much is this going to cost me?
Ugh,
And then that spirals her further down the line
of
and
course.
makes her also not want to be on this earth anymore because she
Yeah,
doesn't know how she's
Yeah,
going to
we
be able
didn't
to afford
really
it.
we didn't really even touch on the suicidality and
Mhm.
and that, you know,
yes.
that's heartbreaking.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I don't want this to be all like doom and
Mhm.
gloom either, because I know, Morgan, you see some happy things happening
Mhm.
in the pediatric ICU. And that's probably
Yeah.
why you
Yeah,
went there
some
and
good
Yeah.
stories.
yeah, in the
Mhm.
first place, was
Mhm.
because you can make a difference. And by the way, oh,
Mhm.
I almost forgot about this. Morgan got an award at her hospital.
Yes.
Morgan, talk about the award you got and what it is for.
So I got an award from this family that I took care of for a really long time. And I developed a really close relationship with not only the little girl, but also the parents as well. Because especially when you're working with pediatrics, you're not just working with the child, you're working with the entire family. And it was this little girl who came in. She has what's called an ependymoma, which is a form of brain cancer.
Mm,
And she ended up having to get a tracheostomy, which is a breathing tube through your throat.
yeah.
And she was a very hard sedation challenge. So when you first get that, we have to have kids lay very still for a long time because you don't want that to get taken out since it's such a fresh site. I believe she's like 4 or 5 years old. And I took care of her for probably 3 weeks in a row. She was just thrashing all over the place, obviously, because she's scared and
Mhm.
the medications weren't working for her. And something we also deal with in the ICU, especially since I'm on night shift, is delirium and flipping your sleep and wake cycle. So they feel like since they're sedated during the day and nighttime, sometimes they wake up during the nighttime when they should be awake during the daytime. So we figured out that she was very delirious and put her on a different medication that helped her. And this is actually one of the happy stories because she ended up
Mm,
being so much better from her chemotherapy and radiation. We got to end up taking her trach out. So now she's
oh,
just breathing on her own,
Mm.
which is amazing. And
yeah.
I developed such a close relationship with that family. The dad actually wrote me what's called a Daisy Award. It's a very worldwide award for nurses that recognize their compassion and resilience. And usually you just get nominated for it and you get this little daisy pin. But he wrote such a beautiful letter for me that I ended up winning the Daisy Award, not just getting nominated. And it was a very beautiful ceremony.
That's
Okay.
lovely.
I know. I'm gonna start crying now.
Mhm.
Damn it. I try to get through a podcast without crying, but it
Just
always
let
kind
it
of
go. Let those tears
I
flow.
know.
That's
I
lovely,
know.
Morgan. It's
I
Mhm.
know.
nice to see people doing that good work day to day. And we know you don't do it for the award. We know you do it
Mhm.
Yeah.
to connect with that family and to make that
Mhm.
little girl's life better and all the other
Mhm.
kids too. And it's nice, but it's
Mhm.
nice to see it get recognized. It's such
Yeah.
important work.
Yeah, and it was really
Yeah.
sweet. The family ended up actually coming back a little bit ago because she was getting a different kind of surgery to help.
Mhm.
And I sometimes do this thing with my patients, especially if they've been there a while. I'll come back and I'll go buy them a stuffed animal, or I'll draw them some encouraging words that have like a monkey on it or some sort of sweet thing, and then hang them around their room so they feel a little bit more at home. And the
Yeah.
dad came back and told me that he saved all of those things, and that one day when
Oh,
she grows up and starts being able to comprehend what happened in the hospital, he's going to show her all of those and tell them all about me. And so that made me start crying afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have inspired another nurse there,
That's what I
doctor,
was thinking.
whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's what
that's
I was
lovely.
thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's actually going to nursing school because of me, the dad.
Oh,
Oh man, you
Mhm.
oh,
inspired the dad. That's
wow.
awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's
Sweet.
what makes the world go round, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
So, yeah. So, I think that piece about resilience in children, like,
Mhm.
they do have such an amazing capacity,
Mhm.
for that. And so
Yeah.
I feel like it is so important for people, who may be listening or whatever. This is the end result of
Mhm.
things that happen is the worst case scenario. They're going to end up in
Mhm.
a hospital somewhere, but
Mhm.
there are all these signs and
Mhm.
things that just the average person
Mhm.
can be looking for, and knowing, just sort of having a
Mhm.
knowing that something just isn't right. Like
Mhm.
something's going on.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to even be cutting or whatever. Like
Mhm.
there's so many things that can be going on with kids right now, and there
Mhm.
are places that you can go to understand what those things might be.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
You talked about the mandatory. Is it
Mhm.
mandate? What is the training that you have to go through for the
Mandate
hospital?
Oh,
reporter.
yeah,
Mandate.
mandatory
Yes.
reporting. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
even when I was a basketball coach years ago
Mhm.
for little kids,
Mhm.
everybody has to go through that training. I think that should
Mhm.
be mandatory for every human
Yeah.
being on the planet, honestly. I don't
Mhm.
think you
Yeah.
need to be in charge
Mhm.
or
Takes a
coaching or
village. Yeah, we got
Yeah.
to
yeah.
watch out for kids.
Mhm.
We got to watch out for
Mhm.
kids and for everybody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that other thing about that is, or about watching out for each other is the suicidality, watching out and listening for warnings
Mhm.
around that, especially like you say, with this increase in suicidality among our
Mhm.
youth and a
Mhm.
lot of people. There's a lot of pressure on the trans community, the LGBTQIA plus community right now. When
Mhm.
people we've talked about what to do when you hear people talking about this. We take it seriously. The thing is, ask the question. Ask the question, are you thinking about hurting yourself? Are you thinking about ending your life? And in the
Mhm.
past, people didn't want to talk about it. They didn't want to. There was this idea that if you talk about it, you would put the idea in their head. This isn't
Mhm.
true. So yes, ask the question, and then if you get in over your head, you reach out for help.
Mhm.
We always share the suicide hotline, 988. And then also for LGBTQ plus folks, you can definitely call 988, but you can also call the Trevor Plot Project, which is a special hotline for LGBTQ plus folks. And that is 866-488-7386. They
Mhm.
are there specifically for you. They know what you're going through. They understand. That's a number you can call. If you know someone who's going through it, you can call these numbers and say, what do I do? And they will help you. Don't ignore it. Don't leave these folks alone. And certainly don't leave them with things that they can hurt themselves with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Again, it takes a village. We need to be here
Mhm.
for each other.
One thing that we do at the hospital whenever a kid comes in is we always do our admission questions that kind of gives background into the patient.
Yeah.
And one thing that we do, no matter what, if they are over the year of 12 years old, I believe, we have the parents step out and we ask them a suicide questionnaire to see if they've thought about self harming, if they self harm, if they've ever considered it, if they have a plan. And then if they do say yes to any of those questions, we do get our social workers involved and try to get them the help that they need if they are
Yeah.
experiencing those
Yeah.
things, even if that's not even the reason that they're at the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you
Mhm.
just need someone to ask. And this is,
Mhm.
again, I think nurses are so good at this. They're good at looking you in the eyes. They're good at
Mhm.
connecting with people because you
Mhm.
can ask someone that and they know you don't care. They don't know you
Mhm.
don't care the answer, but
Mhm.
nurses care and nurses know how
Mhm.
to connect with you and let you know that they care.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's just, it's,
Yeah.
it's night and day. It's so important.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, ever since I was a little girl, my mom's always told me and my brother we have this similar trait that I don't know what it is, but people just randomly will come up to us and start spilling their story and trauma dumping in the middle of like anywhere, and we're like,
Yeah.
"Oh." but it's like a very amazing quality to have. And I'm very
Yeah.
appreciative that
Important.
people feel welcome to say whatever they need and get help.
Yeah. And
You
you got to care for yourself too, because
yeah.
that's one where you got to know when you got to say, okay, I got to take care of myself. But
Well,
Yeah.
that's the perfect lead in, and that's what
Mhm.
I wanted to Morgan to talk about too, because we
Mhm.
were just together a couple weeks ago, and she's like, "Whoa, Deb, like I had a rough patch
mm,
the last couple of
Mhm.
weeks." So what do you do? What do you do to take care of yourself? This is just
mhm,
as important.
Yeah.
yes.
So I think that's probably one of the number one things I struggle with because it's so easy for me, at least, to help others, but it's sometimes hard for me to receive the feedback I'm giving to others to myself. But
Yeah.
so I work night shifts. So that can be really strenuous on the body.
Yeah.
And I also do travel a lot. So sometimes I'm sleep deprived for quite a while and then I sleep for a long time and I have to flip my schedule. But I
Yeah.
think the main thing that I do to help when I have really tough weeks is I have such an amazing support system. I
Yeah.
have you, I have Tanner, I have my parents, I have my friends, and especially other nurses at the hospitals. We all support one another. It's most definitely a village there. So
Yeah.
whenever we
Yeah.
have a tough patient, we really just support one another. We let each other cry. We try to make each other smile. And I
Yeah.
went to therapy for a little bit, which was helpful, but it's also hard when nurses, if you don't experience it yourself, it can sometimes be hard to get help from someone who hasn't been in those
Yes.
shoes
Walk up your
before.
shoe. Yes.
So it's really helpful to get help from the other nurses or anyone in
Yeah.
healthcare who's been there before. And then being outside is a big one.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting this into the sun, even going for like walks in the rain. I'm
Yeah.
also a big journaler, so I journal most of my cases, and especially the ones that I have a
Mm,
hard time getting over.
we
Yeah.
love journaling. Journaling is a
Mhm.
really good
Yeah.
tool.
Mhm.
All about the tools and
Mhm.
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
the grounding and just being in
Yeah.
nature can do so
Mhm.
much. Just getting yourself away from and outside
Mhm.
of the environment. So
Yeah, I think when I first started, I got into a little bit of a rut, especially because when I started on my own, it was in the winter time in Washington. So it's dark,
Yeah.
rainy, there's like
Yeah.
no sunlight,
Yep.
yeah.
very
Yep.
deprived of almost being in nature because you don't want to be outside. So I
Yeah.
would be like, oh, I'm just going to lay on the couch, I'm going to watch some TV. And then
Yep.
it made my situations a lot darker until I kind
Yes.
of started pulling myself out and was like, okay, I need to like actually
Get out.
Yeah.
read a book. I need to journal. I need to help myself rather than just let it all kind of consume me until you break. So
Yeah.
I think it's important
Yeah.
to
Gotta
recognize that stuff.
fill your cup or you can't
Hmm.
take care of all those kids that need
Yes.
you, right?
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love you, Morgan. I'm so
I love you
you.
too.
So excited to
Yes.
have a nurse in the family.
I know.
It's good work you're doing out there, Morgan.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
that.
Thanks for taking the time to be with us. It means a lot.
Yeah, of course. Thank
Yes.
you guys for having me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great conversation.
Hey, warrior moms. As we started this podcast, we had determined that part of what we were going to do is to create a community. So we have decided to take it to another level, and we have started our own Facebook community in addition to the Warrior Parent podcast, and it's called
From Chaos to Calm, a sanctuary for moms. Here's what it looks like. It's on Facebook right now. Please go and join it. And just to let you know, we're going to create our Blue Sky accounts right now. We're getting prepared as we watch this weird stuff go on in America. So we may be shifting the whole group to Blue Sky. Just be aware that we got you. You're going to start here. If this turns out to be not a safe place anymore on Facebook, then we will shift over. But what we're creating is a safe space where moms can show up and get information, get support, talk to each other about the things you're going through with your kids, the things you went through with your kids, maybe get some advice from moms, but also other experts. We're going to invite all of our guests and experts to join the group. I hope you will too. This is a place where you can show up and be seen and be heard and be safe. Mom's got you.
Nobody trusts anyone more than moms. So let's do this.
And now for your core mental health break. This is your opportunity to take a moment to support your mental wellness. your peace of mind, your own ease and grace. Take some time every day to support your mental health. You deserve it, and it matters.
Today we're going to journal. So get a piece of paper or your journal or use your phone, and here's your journaling prompt for today. My dream job is... So then you just write about what comes up for you, and don't limit yourself by what you think you could do or what you think you're good at or what you think will make enough money. Just describe your dream job. My dream job is... Enjoy your journaling.
Thanks for listening to the Warrior Parent Podcast, which is a production of our nonprofit, Cour Experience, who also creates and distributes Cour tools. You can find us at courexperience.org. Make sure you join us next week for another informative conversation to help you and your family show up mindfully, purposefully, and joyfully with each other and in your community.
Our Cour Tools platform consists of a number of proven tools and techniques that are designed to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm in spite of what's going on in your world. We want to thank Samuel Hale, LLC, for sponsoring this podcast. Technical and marketing support comes from Inspire Your Brand. Our podcast editor is Justin Veeden. Opinions expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, the producers, or the financial supporters. I'm Debbie DeMano.
And I'm Marcy Mitchell. Thanks for listening. If you resonate with the idea of creating a community to help support kids and families, won't you join us by following the podcast and sharing this episode? You can even write a review. It truly does take a village, and we appreciate you.